Hi y'all, it's Andrea over at Sewspire.com. It is so nice to be back here in the studio creating sewing tutorials for our wonderful creative community. What I would like to do for the next 11 weeks is focus on holiday gifts, in particular handmade holiday gifts. So we're going to kick that series off today, and I am going to teach you how to make a custom fit book cover, okay? So this technique is unique because we're going to integrate a spine into the design as well as a tie closure. And then again, you're going to be able to use a simple formula to custom fit a cover to any book that you would like to cover. And you're not limited to just books, of course. You could cover journals, binders, things like that. Anything basically that has pages, you could create a custom cover for. So in regards to gifts, imagine if you bought, say, a blank sketchbook and then you created a gorgeous cover for it. Likewise, you could also create covers for Bibles, as I mentioned, the journals and things like that. So you could take an ordinary gift and make that extra special. If you happen to have a monogram machine, you could personalize the cover, or if you do embroidery or cross stitch, you could add your own little special touch. With the Cricut machine, you could even use a vinyl decal. So there are lots of options with this. So shall we get started? Okay, so to begin, you are going to actually have the book or journal or binder that you would like to cover, because you're going to need to take actual measurements from that piece. So the first thing you're going to do is measure the height of the piece, and you're going to add 1 inch to that, and that's going to give you the height of your front and rear panels, as well as the height for your interior pockets, which will allow you to slip the interior cover of the book or journal inside of. So that first measurement is the height of your book plus 1 inch. Then you're going to open up your book and measure that open laying flat on this table there all the way across, and you're going to add 2 inches to that measurement plus whatever the measurement of the spine of the book is. So in my case, I'm going to add 2.5 inches to the actual open laying flat measurement. Okay, and that's going to give you the measurements for the interior and the exterior. Then for the pockets, you have your height measurement will be exactly the same as these panels, and the width of each pocket is going to be the actual width of the front of your book or journal. So you're going to cut 2 of those pockets and then fold them in half long ways. And those will be positioned to the left and the right hand sides of the interior panel. And then you're going to cut a 2-inch wide strip by whatever your desired length is to craft the fabric tie closure. And then just for your reference, my fabric tie measures 2 by 19, which is going to give me a nice little short tie because I'm going to cut this in half. If you wanted one longer, you could go 2 by say 24 would be nice. Then you're going to craft your tie by folding those short ends over a 1/2 inch and pressing, and then using the Sewspire strap method to fold that in half and press. Bring those outer edges inward to meet on that center press line. Fold that over and press, and then just go ahead and stitch down that open edge to finish the tie. Okay, and I have my finished tie here. I just want to align those edges and then cut that evenly in half. And then I'm going to center that on my body/pocket panel and pin that tie to the pocket to hold it in place. The raw edge of that is going towards the outer edge, and the finished edge of that tie is towards the center. So now I have my body panel, my 2 pocket panels, and my 2 straps. I'm just going to set that aside for a few minutes. And the exterior is crafted from one continuous cut of fabric that is the exact same measurements as your interior panel. And you're going to use 2 layers of Pellon 808 or Pellon 809. I actually prefer the non-iron-on for this project so you don't get all of those little wrinkles in that. And then you're going to press in stitch lines that are 1/3 of the way up from the top and the bottom, and just stitch horizontally across this layer of cotton and Pellon. Those stitch lines are multifunctional. They're going to add interest and detail to the cover as well as hold all of the fabric and Pellon in place. If you want to add any embellishments to the front of this, the front portion of this will be the right hand side, okay? So you could even use these stitch lines, like if I were going to put a monogram, I would actually put it right here in between at the 2/3 mark, but you could also put that right at center here. So that'll be very helpful for you to have those stitch guides as well. So now I have this exterior panel ready to go. So I'm going to bring back over my interior/pocket panel, and I want to position the exterior Pellon panel right sides facing on top of that, and I'm going to put a pin in each corner through all of the layers. And then I'm going to stitch across the top, down the right hand side, and across the base. I'm going to leave the left hand side open. And for this, I'm using 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, now once you make it all the way around, just double check and make sure that you do have 2 layers of fabric plus your pockets at the ends there showing through. And if you happen to see any areas where it's very close, go back and true that up now. And it's a very easy fix now, whereas when you turn it all right side out and you realize that you have a little hole, you're likely to be frustrated with that. So now it's not necessary to trim up the seams, but you will want to angle these corners. And then reach inside and turn this right side out. Watch out for all the pins inside of there. Go ahead and poke those corners out. And you can remove the pins at the finished end, but you're going to need to leave the pin holding the fabric tie in the unfinished end in place. At this point you have your finished end and then one end that is unfinished with the tie here. You're going to have to just make sure that the tie is only pinned to the pocket, and then remove the other two pins there and turn that pocket around so that it is sitting on the front of the cover. Make sure your tie is still nice and straight, and then go ahead and stitch that opening closed. And now you can remove the pin that was holding the tie in place. And for this, I do like to trim up that seam right down to 1/4 of an inch. And then you'll turn that pocket back around and poke out those corners. And at this point, you're going to want to iron everything nice and flat. The beautiful exterior and then the interior with the two pockets and the tie closure. So now you're going to want to slip your actual book or journal inside of there, and the back flap goes in the right hand side and then the front flap slides in the left hand side. Go ahead and close that up and then push the book inside of there and pull up the excess into the spine. So you can see that I have that right there. Okay, and you should be able to feel that cover inside there right up against the corners. And now what you want to do is pinch up that spine and go ahead and just pin in that little crease, and this just takes 3 or 4 pins there, and then we're going to turn it over and pin a little crease on the opposite side to create that rigid spine that really defines this style of book cover. And because this book has a very narrow spine, it's not much of a pinch there. This is why we add the width of the spine to that 2 inches when we're determining the actual cut width for this cover. So in this case, I am pinning through all of the layers, but obviously not the book. And that's what that looks like. Then you will need to take out the book. And And this is what you should have on the back there. And then just working one pleat at a time, stitch very narrow, 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch even, I would say 1/8 of an inch. Across there, going very slow, removing the pins as you go, and then flipping everything over and doing the second spine. Okay, I have the first side of that spine stitched in place, and now I want to secure the second pleat in that spine. Okay, I have that spine secure. I love this look. I just think it's so much fun. And then on the inside, that's what it looks like. If you were exceptionally clever, can you see how you could actually use this as a binding and sew in your own pages? Whoa, that would be so much fun. Okay, so now we're going to test this out. So that front cover slides in the left-hand side, and the back cover slides in the right-hand side. And you can slip other little goodies inside of these pockets there. And then that closes up. It is an absolute perfect fit. And then you can tie this in a bow if you want, but the short ties are usually best knotted like that. You have a lot of room to customize the front of this. If you were very ambitious, you could add pockets to the front and the back of this as well. And you can see how if you made a collection of these, this would just be truly stunning sitting on a desk or displayed on a bookcase. So I hope you all enjoyed this project. As always, it was an absolute pleasure to sew with you. I will be back next week with another handmade gift idea for you. If you have special requests, I'd love to hear them. Please leave me a comment below. Or even more fun would be if you have someone in your family that's just impossible to shop for. Share a little bit of information about them, like their hobbies, their favorite colors, interests, occupation, whatever, and I'll see if I can't come up with the perfect gift for your impossible to shop for. All right? So until then, please know the creative genius in me will be celebrating the creative genius in you. Hope you all have a beautiful week.